Hey everybody, it's Dr. Nicole with Healing Hands, and I have Premier Besman with me. Thank you so much for showing up today and doing this whole discussion with me.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. This next video that we're gonna do today may be one of the most important videos that I think maybe I've ever done, because whether you are whatever side of the fence you're on in regards to vaccination, whether you get your children vaccinated or you don't have your children vaccinated, I think that we need to address this specific COVID-19 vaccine that scientists are trying to produce, and the pharmaceutical industry is just like, they're all like trying to, get their claws in on who's going to make the most money from this vaccine.
Gold rush.
It's a gold rush for them, but I'm really concerned because this COVID vaccine is completely or potentially different than certainly other bacterial vaccines, but even other viral vaccines.
Yes.
And there is a grave potential danger to this particular vaccine. Can you shed a little bit of light as to why that is? Why is a single-strand RNA viral vaccine just so different than others that we've had in the past?
Yes, absolutely. So this vaccine that's using, actually there are many different types of it, but the leading ones, especially the top leading one from Moderna, is a modified RNA vaccine. And the RNA vaccine is actually, its main purpose is not to send a part of the virus and then create a reaction in the body. It's actually modifying your body's systems. So it's not only in introducing some foreign materials into your body, but it's teaching your body to become something other than what it naturally is engineered to be.
Right.
So I'm trying to say it in the most simplistic terms as possible without getting into the details of the science. I encourage everyone to actually read up on it. There is a lot to read up on it.
Where should somebody go to? Well, two things. When we talk about reading up on information, I think something we need to touch on is there is a lot of misinformation out there, guys. Even pieces that appear to be peer-reviewed literature, when I open them up, they're not. They're opinion pieces.
Right.
Most of the opinions are coming from people that have a financial invested interest in whatever it is that quote-unquote research or literature is trying to promote. And so number one is, what would you recommend? I mean, I always recommend is when you're looking at literature, look at the source, and you may have to Google a few layers of things, okay, who is my source? You may have to Google that person to see, who he is, why is he doing what he's doing, does he have a financial or vested interest in whether it be a vaccine or a mask or something like that. But where would somebody go? Where should somebody go to find out this kind of information?
Yeah, so maybe to help out the beginners, we attach some sources when we post this video.
Okay.
But again, a simple place to start can be as basic as going to Children's Health Defense.
Okay.
A reliable, reputable organization. They only issue peer-reviewed materials, and they have looked at this material before.
Got it.
So they can just get started there. They can also look at Moderna's history. Moderna has never successfully marketed a product before, ever. 0 times in their history.
Now wait a minute before you go on, so that you guys know, this is what Pamela has done for her, this is your background.
Yes.
Her background is in marketing and advertising for pharmaceutical companies, for the pharmaceutical corporation. So just so that you guys know where this is coming from, you're hearing it straight from
from the research.
Yes. Straight from
So unfortunately,
source.
anytime it's coming directly from that company has a vested financial interest to protect, and their material is always geared towards protecting their stock value. So even when during the Moderna trials, phase 1 trials, they had significant adverse reactions, including hospitalizations, they tried to sugarcoat that. In their own press release, they try to make it sound like it wasn't a big deal. So only when you look at the real data, don't just read the titles, when you look at the real data, you realize that out of the 45 people who had participated, they only reported a small percentage, and they wanted to just brush under the table the ones that had the adverse reactions. Now, because they already had their deals done, they are proceeding. Now, this is unheard of in the pharmaceutical industry. A vaccine, especially a new technology vaccine, should take years and years.
Right.
There should be animal studies. They have deliberately skipped animal studies. What happens then is that we become the animal study. And if you listen to the advisory committee on immunizations meetings, they are pushing the process forward as if all the checkpoints have been met, and the checkpoints have not been met. They have not proven to us the safety or the efficacy that's necessary to move to the next step, but they're moving along anyway.
Right.
And they call it at risk. So they're going at risk, but at whose risk? Because they've already received the money, and that is paid to them through taxpayer money. They already have their financial risk covered.
Right.
And they have no liability. So there's basically no risk to the manufacturer to proceed. Now they've gone into phase 3 clinical studies before phase 1 and 2 results were properly vetted and issued and understood. And what happened after they had the issues with the phase 1 formula? Usually what happens, what's supposed to happen, is when you have issues, you stop everything, you go back, and you retweak the formula.
Okay.
And it takes months or sometimes years.
Okay.
And then you start at step 1 again. You don't just go on to the next step and then sugarcoat it and just say we're doing it anyway. That's not how it's supposed to work.
Right.
So
but they're doing this all under the guise that we're under a public health crisis. But when we look at the numbers, we're really no longer, I mean, we just looked at some numbers just to bring you guys up to speed. We just looked at numbers earlier from the CDC that shows that overall deaths in the US are the same as what they were prior to March in 2020. That's right. Overall deaths.
Right. So with a survival rate of 99.9%, there's absolutely no justification to rush into market a new technology, experimental biologic product with no liability. There's no way they can possibly improve upon that death rate with this experimental product. I am very concerned that they're going to cause a lot of damage.
Right.
So what happens when you forever modify someone's body?
It's
when you insert this vaccine and you modify, you give a certain command to that cell, and then the cell starts doing certain things. When does it stop doing it? And then what if there are other things going on in the meantime? What if your body starts reacting to those things and it starts doing things that were not previously thought about?
Right. And this type of vaccine can also alter the human genome for generations. So
Yes.
this is not just about, how it affects your individual body. This is about how this is going to affect your children and your grandchildren. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's how I understood
You
it.
could possibly become a non-human after receiving this vaccine. Because what makes you human is your genome.
It's your genome.
And then you flip a few things around. At what point do you become a patentable product?
Wow.
Are we going into transhumanization?
Right.
Because if you're not human, if you've modified yourself as a human, what are you at that point?
Right.
And who owns the patent to your RNA or DNA at that point?
Well, then that becomes who owns you. Well, that's fascinating. I did not see this coming. I did not know we were going to go down this road. That is super fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, these are a little, too crazy out there. I want to stay more feet on the ground on the things that are more visible within our reach. But then once you open that door to questioning, then the questioning continues, and that's what a real scientist and a philosopher should do, right?
Right.
Ask these questions, and then ask the next question, and then ask the next question, and where does it take us? And do we still want to go down that path, or does there need to be some corrective action, or is there maybe a parallel path that is not that dangerous? Can we actually deal with this? And in a situation where the death rates are so low, and we have ways to control our own individual health and improve our immunities, and that there are very cheap and available and effective treatments out there available, then all of this risk becomes unnecessary.
Now, here's the thing: we're gonna close up here in a second, but I think that just opened up the gateway for our next video. When you had said there are very available treatments out there. What does that mean? Guys, I don't know. What does that mean? Do you know what that means? All right. Well, listen, we're going to end this video, but thank you so much for joining us. Of course, if you have any other questions, you know where to find me. Healing Hands of Manahawkin. You can always reach out. Happy to answer any of your questions. And I think we're going to go down the treatment path right now. So watch out for our next upcoming video. Alrighty, bye.